I found some phony phone call I made like when I was 10 years old.
Oh, great. I want to hear that.
Yeah, I got that. It's not that good.
Torturing, pharmacists and stuff.
Yeah, it wasn't as good as I thought, but
really?
it's worth looking at just to hear the genesis of a retard. The beginning.
You were disappointed?
Yeah.
You thought it was so great?
In my mind, I remembered it being better. Let me see if I can find it. This is me. I'm going to guess.
Who are you calling?
I don't think I don't know. I think I was calling a pharmacy somewhere.
Because you used to talk about the pharmacy call all the time.
Yeah, I think I was calling a pharmacy, and I was pretending to be a girl.
Right, that's what you said.
And I was trying to ask the guy, I didn't know anything about sex, and all I knew was the word scumbag meant prophylactic, a rubber.
Right.
So it's me, and then you hear one of my friends yelling out, scumbag and prophylactic, and it's just very, very bizarre. It's just the ramblings of idiots. All right, here we go. So I call the guy, and I didn't know anything. I'm asking him about LSD. I'm asking him about, and then I'm trying to be a pretty girl and telling him that, I want to know how big his scumbag is.
All right.
It's very confusing. It's really bad.
Even you were confused.
Yeah, but okay, here's a young Howard Stern. Scott, the engineer, asked me how I mic this stuff. I had a Wallensack tape recorder. I just shoved the microphone up to the phone.
Right.
And then me and my friends would get on a different phone, and that's how we would do it.
Now, let me ask you something. Did you have to make several calls before this, or this was just like...
I think this was... like, we made tons of phone calls that day, and they're all horrible, equally horrible. The first time we call a woman and tell her she won a free fish dinner from the Freeport docks, and then when she goes, oh, really? And then we go... Uh-oh, hold on, lady. There's a fish in a bad Chinese accent. And then all of a sudden the fish attacks us and eats us.
Oh, jeez.
That was real bad. Then we would call people and go, hello, this is Mr. Detergent. Dirt can't hide from intensified
Tide.
But we'd wait for someone to say that. Right. No one ever did. That was a slew of boring, phony phone calls. And then to top it off, we would call up as a Chinese restaurant and tell them they won free dinner. And then some woman threatened to punch my friend in the nose. Oh. She goes, you know what? I'm going to punch you in the nose for making such stupid jokes.
And this was like a Saturday night? You guys would just be sitting around doing this stuff?
And I think it was like an afternoon. My parents were out, and, I had 3 different phones off the hook and the Wallensack tape recorder going. And,
how old were you at this point?
I'm going to guess I'm like 10, maybe, 11. Maybe even as old as 12.
Now, wait a minute. Then where did these friends come from?
Oh, this is when Roosevelt was white.
Oh,
These were my white friends.
All right. It didn't turn black before you were 12?
No.
I thought it turned black like at 8 or 9.
It started when I was about 13.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I had 3 bad years. 14 and 15 were tough.
All right. Let's listen to the good years.
All right. I think we might have been 12 here, I'm going to guess.
Okay.
And these kids were listening to with you all bolted out of the neighborhood?
Yeah, these kids, yeah. They were in Roosevelt for a while, but most of them were doing phony phone calls, and now it was my turn to step up to the plate. You know what I mean? And I think I had a kind of a cool idea because my voice was so high. I was before puberty. And I'm obviously confused about sex, judging on my conversation with this guy. And it's really bad. Here we go.
The 12-foot dick.
Oh, what dick? What else do you want in your mouth? What you do in your mouth?
Can you get me a vape?
Sure.
Well, I need you.
I know you do.
I'm going to meet you in a dark alley.
I know you do. What
this is my other friend. He wants to meet him in a dark alley.
But I'm saying the pharmacist is funny.
Yeah, he's a good guy. He's like having some fun.
Yeah.
Oh.
We hung up because we panicked.
Yeah, he had all the...
Amazing how I tell Scott to cut certain things out and he doesn't.
Oh, my goodness.
He's like retarded. I sat in there all day with him.
But we can hardly hear you.
Yeah, I mean, you know.
You got the pharmacist mic'd really well.
Yeah. It's hard. I mean, I didn't have equipment. Scott, there's certain things I told you to cut out. And I mean, I bleeped what I wanted to bleep.
Yeah.
But, you know. He put in the very thing I didn't want in there. Thank God I put a delay button in here.
He's busy.
Yeah, you're like a fucking retard. I gotta say, you really are. I mean, I don't know how much time I spent with you explaining to you what I wanted.
I thought I cut that out. Sorry.
Yeah, oh man, you are a disaster. I'll just go to someone else when I need some work done.
Thank you.
Really, I mean, really. It's just amazing how much time I spent with you, and then you put in the one thing I don't want in there.
Sorry, I thought I cut that out.
Yeah. No, thanks. It's all right. I dumped out of it. Thank God. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right. There's something wrong with him, man. I mean, there's really... I mean, I'm just furious.
He actually thought he had cut it out.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. I mean, really. I didn't bother to listen back.
When you smell smoke, you know he must be near. Scott the engineer.
He just infuriates me. He does. I'm sorry.
That's a bad call.
Yeah.
He's just as bad in digital, you know.
Yeah.
He always used to blame tape, you know. He's just as bad with fancy equipment.
Yeah.
If there's one specific thing, and
I just try and try. Yeah.
Hello. Hey, honey? You gonna come over today?
No. We made a bunch of phony phone calls, needless to say. None of them were all that good. We tried, though. We tried.
That's funny.
Yeah. And then I gave up on my phony phone call career for a while until I got into radio.
Yeah, but even the female voice, you weren't committed.
No, I was like, What?
Hey, I don't want to be a pain in the neck, but I know that we're sort of on a tight schedule today because we got something at 8 o'clock and something at 8:30, and Elephant Boy's here.
Yeah.